Hello everybody, welcome to my studio. For those of you who don't know me, if you haven't watched any of my videos before, my name's Emma Wigginton and I'm a textile artist, and I'm very lucky to have a lovely studio up here in Cumbria. And today I thought that I would show you the fun you can have with doing creative free machine embroidery or free motion embroidery, free motion stitching. It's called lots of different things. It's basically where you take your presser foot off your sewing machine, put on a darning foot and lower your feed dog teeth and off you go. You just have some fun. I tend to teach this in a hoop, so that you've got something to hang on to while you learn to manipulate the fabric and move it around. This is one I did earlier. I just was having a little go at filming this because this filming lark is all new to me. I'm just making it up as I go along, so you'll have to just bear with. And my technical expertise is growing every day. Every film I make gets a bit better. So this is one I did earlier. You can see I just used simple black on top of the coloured fabrics just so that you can see. I'm not sure the best place for focusing that, but it's quite wonky, it's quite wobbly. I was just literally having a go at it, but that's the sort of thing you can achieve. So the first thing you need to do is get yourself a hoop. I will be doing another video next time on how to do it without a hoop. If you haven't got a hoop in your house, that's fine. I guess you could order them online. So you put the piece of the screw bit down and then you put the little piece of fabric on top. I'm just using a piece of calico here, but you could use cotton or polycotton, sheeting, whatever you've got in the house, just to get you going. It doesn't have to be anything expensive or posh. So you tighten that up so it's got a nice sound to it, so it's like a drum, and we're going to pop that under the machine foot. Normally, if you're sewing by hand, you do it so that it's that way up, but for free machining, we're going to tuck that underneath the foot, and we're just going to use the hoop. The machine's going to sew up and down, and you just move the hoop around and do the fun bit, which is the stitching. Okay, so the other piece I'm going to show you, this is one I did earlier with my video on how to do Bonder web. So I'm just getting all these tangly bits off, look at those. So I've just cut some shapes out, I've used Bonder web to stick them on. Ideally, when you're doing this to start off with, you make sure, not that I've done it so well, but you make sure they fit well inside your hoop, because what you'll find is when you're free machining, you will bash up against the sides of the hoop if it's not far enough into the centre, and sometimes you have to swivel your hoop around so that it doesn't do that. So ideally maybe make a slightly smaller design, and don't do what I've done along the bottom where it's kind of sticking over the edges. I'll have to work out how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to pop that one in a frame as well. There we go, like that, so that that's nice and tight, and making sure it's the right way around so that it's indented down, so it drops down, so you can pop that under your foot and get stitching that. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. I'm going to just tie back my hair because it's a bit wild today, and put that out of the way for machining, and I'm going to show you now. I'm going to drop the camera down so that you can see the machining close up. So see you in a minute. So let me introduce you. This is my lovely old sewing machine. Very simple, very basic. The first thing I've done is I've lowered the feed dog teeth here, so there's nothing rough to catch on the underneath of the fabric. You must always make sure before you start stitching you put your presser foot down so that the tension is engaged properly, otherwise you'll get knitting going on underneath your fabric. I'll just lift that back up for a minute. I've also put my stitch length onto 0, so that I'm going to be controlling the length of the stitches, not the machine. Now I'm going to just turn it on, which is always a good start. I've got the presser foot up so I can slide my hoop just underneath the foot. I'm going to lift the foot up a little bit. You have to make sure that your needle is at the top as well, that's really important. And I'm going to put the presser foot down now. I'm going to show you how to start off. There's two ways you can start. You can just literally put your needle in and just start going, and then come back and cut your thread off and just do a couple of stitches to get you going. Or I'm going to show you the posh way, but don't get fixated on this. This is just if you want to start off neatly. You make a single stitch by pulling the wheel of your machine round slowly, make a little stitch by hand, and I'm holding the top thread there, pulling that taut, and can you see the bottom thread is now coming up, and I'm just going to pop my scissors in there, pull that bottom thread up, and then I'll go back and I'll put the needle down where that came up, and I can then start sewing, do a couple of stitches there and set off, and then I can come back and I can just cut those threads off, and then they're completely gone and out of the way. They're not going to get in the way of any sewing. So off we go. Here we go, free machine embroidery. Now actually sewing, I've got the machine going fairly quickly, but I'm actually moving the hoop quite slowly, and that means I get a nice smooth line. If you sew slower, you'll get a much more jaggedy, bigger stitches, a more jaggedy look, and that's not really what I want. But it's all about the ratio between how fast you sew and how fast you move the hoop. Okay, so to get it smooth, go quicker than you think. Just let the machine run. Don't panic. I know it's called free machining, but it will stop if you take your foot off the accelerator, no problem. And just get going, have some fun, move the hoop and make some shapes. You can do all sorts of things with it now. Off you go, that's free machine embroidery. So I'll stop there, and I'm going to change over to my other piece with the colours on, and I'll show you how I'm going to sew that next. See you in a minute. Okay, so I've changed the thread. You can see it's got a turquoisey thread in now, just for a bit of light relief from the black. And I'm going to do the same as I did before, lift the foot up, slide the hoop underneath, and I'm going to put down my presser foot, and I think I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to pull my bottom stitch up like that. Using the wheel, just make a stitch by hand as though you were just making a stitch. Pull that up, and then it means I can just start that off with a couple of stitches. I'm going to go up there like that, and then I can just cut those off, and they're out of the way. They're not going to get tangled in anything. Okay, so I'm just going to do maybe some bit of grass here, so I'm doing grass. Doing a flower here. A bit wonky, but hey, it's fun. And it doesn't really matter whether you go over the edges or you don't go over the edges. It's just all about what you want to do with it. Make a little leaf there. Colour that in a little bit. Anyway, I'm going to stop there because I think that really I'll maybe finish this off and show you it at the end when I've finished it, and then it's over to you to have a go. So I'll just stop the filming there for a moment. There we go. That's the action photography done. I obviously had to have a stand-in for the stunt work there. That was necessary. So here we go. This is the bit that I did to start with. That's just got very simple little squiggly lines on it. Take it out of the hoop and you can see it just like that. There we go. Very exciting, but it's the way to start. And don't worry if it's wonky, don't worry if it looks like you think, oh my goodness, a child has done this. Well, I would just say, yeah, be a child, have fun, play. It's discovering a part of you that perhaps you didn't even know you had going on inside you. For the next little piece, I used lots of different colours. I got away from the black because the black, it's okay, I just used that to show you, to make it easier to see. And this is taken out of the hoop just to show you that's what it ended up like. You can see it's quite wonky. Some areas I've gone over things twice, because if you do one line and it's wonky, well, you just do a second line on top of it, and that just adds to the fun of it. And so I think that's enough for now. I hope that's whetted your appetite. I hope you're rushing out now to get some fabric and just get going. I explained in the previous video about needing a darning foot, so if you want to know more about that, if you have any questions, just don't hesitate to leave me something in the comments below, and I'll get back to you. Just go off and have fun and enjoy it, and I'll see you again soon.